Well, of course, this features the 69th New York, color guard, which was part of the Irish Brigade. I tried to, the flag itself is shot up, and of course, quite a few of the color guard were shot or wounded during the charge. So I felt that was very important to show. I didn't want to make it too glorious. I wanted to show the horror that the Irish Brigade went through. So I have, of course, one of the fellow carrying the American flag here going down, hitting the side, and one of the color guards are reaching to keep the flag up. And again, this particular fellow is being hit in the back by an exploding shell in the air. Some of the things, of course, this area was heavily fired upon with the cannonballs. I have a Confederate canteen that was dropped by a skirmisher that might have retreated once the Irish Brigade started making its charge. The uniforms, of course, were heavily researched. Some of the color guard were wearing the New York State style short jackets. Of course, you have them with the SNY belt plates standing for the state of New York, and some of them, of course, have the 69 on their hats representing the 69th New York.
Are there any individuals that you have used?
Well, this is a self-portrait right here. So I have stuck myself in there.
Anybody else?
Well, I used my two boys. I used them as models for these two fellas. Of course, I made them older looking than they are, but I based the looks on them, to try to give the youthfulness to the soldiers. I tried to give a variety of ages, from older to younger, in the group I have here, just to represent the different ages of the Irish Brigade. There were quite a few older members of the Irish Brigade who were soldiers, and some of them were upwards into their 40s and 50s even. And of course, then you have the more youthful soldiers that made up a good part of the Irish Brigade. So,
can you describe the process that you go through artistically and also technically, mechanically to do something like this?
Basically, this all started off with getting a sketch that was finally approved. Once the sketch was approved, then a small model was made of the entire monument, which featured the 69th New York on the front and the Mar bust on the back. That was brought down here to the Antietam Battlefield and was approved by the Park Service. Once that was done, then a smaller version of this was done to work out all the design detail, and I was very careful to make sure that there would be some interesting things happening between the people. I didn't want everything to look too crowded or too messed up, and of course I wanted the feeling of the soldiers moving forward as quickly as possible. Once I'd worked out all those little problems on the smaller model, then the larger piece was done. Of course, with this itself, again, I wanted to try to incorporate something of Celtic design, and of course I used the Celtic knot around this Celtic design up on the top pieces there. And also what was kind of interesting, I guess, with the Celtic design was I have actually a kind of a dog-type creature and a bird-type creature that was actually taken from a real Celtic design, which I guess is thousands of years old. But in copying this, I kind of thought that it wouldn't be interesting if people kind of look at that and kind of, I don't know quite what the real symbolism was, but I kind of look at it and I think, well, here we have the eagle, which might represent the Union, and it's on its back, the Confederacy, which maybe might be represented by this dog. Here it is marching boldly into the north. It has the Union on its back, but in this Celtic design, which I copied exactly from some of this old Celtic design, you see the eagle, which is on its back, has something in its mouth and its talons. And if you follow that, you see that it's actually the dog's tail. The dog has something in its mouth too, and if you look closely, you'll see that he has his own paw, and if you follow the other thing, it's his own ear. So, the Confederacy, by marching north, I figured, bit off a bit more than it can chew there, But of course, that's just my own interpretation, And of course, we have the cloverleaf design, which represents the 2nd Corps that the Irish Brigade was a member of, and of course, the cloverleaf also is a symbol of, the Irish Brigade.
If I'm not mistaken, the knot represents eternal life.
I'm not quite sure what this particular. It could, because it just goes on and on and on.
What about the mold? Removing this thing from a mold with all the three-dimensional.
Well, it's done in pieces.
Ah,
This piece was done, but a lot of the weapons, the heads were done cast separately and then welded in position.
oh, so there are weldings in here. Nice.
Yeah, well, this is cast in bronze, and there were different pieces, arms and things like that, just for cleaning purposes, were done separately. Flagpoles, as I said, muskets, things like that were cast separately and then put on and welded into place.
So roughly how many separate elements were welded in place?
Yeah,
How many roughly?
well, the top piece was done separately.
And I mean of these figures.
Well,
how many
all
pieces?
these, let's see, these 5 heads were done separately.
They were done separately.
The flagpole, this arm here, this musket, and this arm, these were cast separately also. His gun were cast separately, just for cleaning purposes, because after it's cast in bronze, a great deal of cleaning of the bronze itself is required to get everything matched up nicely.
The Park Service approved this very deep dimension.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, you just couldn't have anything sticking out that somebody could run by and break off. That was the big requirement.